That's right, folks. It's me, KZ, and this is your update video for May. Thank you, everybody, for your support, whether it's through this channel, through anything you can do on Twitch, from tipping to subbing to following, or if you support me over on Patreon. That's patreon.com/KZXcellent. Every single month, I do a thread about a week before this video comes out each month with it to let you guys participate in Q&A. At the $5 or above level, you can send me questions, and I can answer them on things like this. We will be doing that toward the end of this video. Now, we got a lot to talk about. What did I do this past month? How have I been doing? Not great. And what I got coming out in the future and more. Let's get to it. Well, here we go. So, at the end of the last update video, we finished up the Lunar collection, at the very least the first game, Lunar Remastered, for the Silver Star story. We did a two-part stream event for Heavy Rain, and we got started with Expedition 33. And of course, we're still rolling through Trails of Cold Steel 3. So we finished up Expedition 33 across about 4 more additional streams. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Very good. If there's one thing that I wasn't super keen on is I feel like a lot of the mid to late game enemies, the parry sequences in it just a bit too long. When I go into a turn-based JRPG styled game, I don't really do it to like perform my attacks and then have to do a double dare physical challenge, especially when it really likes the Elden Ring style of we're gonna do a delay attack for like 30 seconds. And I'm like, I'm kind of good, man. It can definitely get frustrating when you're in a tough battle and you're not, like, overpowered. I'll say this, definitely wasn't overpowered for pretty much 99% of the playthrough here, which made things really funny, because I feel like every other streamer I watch is way better at parries than me, and just came in and were just, like, rinsing through fights, even when they were, like, maybe like midway through Act 2. So it kind of makes me feel like, man, I'm kind of bad. Like, ugh, sorry, my bad. Anyway, great game, stellar soundtrack. Definitely my soundtrack of the gen so far. Because, ooh my, it's quite good. Then we did a couple one-off streams. Star Wars Rogue Squadron, that was a great time. 007 Agent Under Fire, I would give this my stream of the month. I think I did a pretty damn good job on this one. People really had some fun with it. I can tell it broke like 1K views on here, so that's good. Then we finished up Golden Sun: The Lost Age. A couple of these streams, particularly the last one, I did a lot of content off stream. Like, I got to the final boss and just couldn't hack it on the stream. So I took the day off and had played through on my own and recorded me going through all the super bosses and doing a run back on the boss. Finishing up, and it felt quite good to be done and to have gotten it all handled. Then we did a Mario Party game. This one was pretty good. The thumbnail's unhinged, so you know it had to have been good. There were some Kingdom Hearts 4 screenshots, so I was on an edible, and I gave my thoughts on those. Most likely I'll have more to say when these screenshots that seem like they were very obviously taken from a trailer are properly, properly shown in video form, then there's more to talk about with it. Next up, we have Doom: The Dark Ages. A lot of people talking about their, parries are becoming too boring now because they're in everything. And, some people are like, what do you mean? What's the problem with parries? I'm like, they put it in a turn-based RPG and a Doom game. It's maybe we need to chill out a little bit. I actually like Doom: The Dark Ages quite a bit, and I love Expedition 33. But I definitely get the complaints. They come from a place of like, oh yeah, obviously. It's a bit weird. Doom: The Dark Ages has a lot of shield gameplay that uses the parry and it's a very, very forgiving one. But it's one of those things where a trend takes over gaming, and games take so long that you end up seeing this long stint of the same thing kind of happening. It's like how action games as a genre was slowly being ruined by Dark Souls, where every single action game you play, you go, oh, this looks awesome, and then they're like, it's got a stamina bar, and you're dodge rolling, and you're doing a Sekiro parry, and you're like, I want to die. Or when Ubisoft style game design took over for a little bit, then you have you got towers and open world checklists, and it's an open world you explore by looking at the map in the corner of the screen or the waypoint that's pointed at the center. You know what I mean? So it's happening kind of like that with parries, or like stagger bars in games. It's one of those where it's like, you know, people are kind of right. Maybe we need to ease up on it. This thing happens all the time. It's like also it's like when Half-Life 2 came out, and then every game that had a first-person perspective, or like a lot of big modern AAA games went, we don't have to make cutscenes anymore. We can just have something happen in the screen, and then you walk up to it, and it happens with like proximity audio or whatever, and you're like, I'd like a real cutscene, please. You know, kind of like BioShock or like a Dead Space, for example. Anyway, I thought I'd talk a little bit about that because it did, people were talking about it this past like week or two. It is interesting that it's like a JRPG and a Doom game put heavy emphasis on like parry style gameplay being added into it. Interesting, but we'll see how long the trend continues. Still continuing through Cold Steel. We are 5 streams deep, about to finish chapter 2 of it, and people going, oh no, is that game gonna like take forever for someone who isn't watching those streams? Don't worry, Trails games I feel like typically have about 4 or 5 chapters, including the finale of them. So we're a ways in. It's not like we're like just stepping through the door, for those wondering. I imagine this game will take maybe at most 12 streams to do. Maybe I lock in a little bit more. We'll see how it goes. We did another Mario Kart 8 stream because Switch 2 and Mario Kart World's almost out. Wanted to get another one of those in there. You may wonder why is this thumbnail so scary. Some weird shit happened in that stream. We played 24 the game because I watched every season of 24 over the past couple of months here. Really enjoyed that. We got to play the second half of this soon, though. I was not able to finish it here. Do not worry, we will figure it out. Next up, we've got Metal Gear Solid. Played that for the first time, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it so far. I'm probably going to finish that today. I think that's what I want to stream today. We got a little over halfway based on the chat saying that I was basically halfway, and then I played a little more. Basically, we went up to the mashing mini-game torture sequence, and then stopped there. I'll be continuing that today, most likely. Thoroughly enjoying it. I'm playing all of these games blind, except for Metal Gear Rising, which I have played, and have played since release. Very good. I'm, like, really enjoying it. I was a little intimidated because it is a stealth game. Those aren't really my genre, but I'm actually really enjoying it. Excited to do the rest of it. Chat was a little backseaty here. We did have a really great incident. I was fighting the cyborg ninja fight and having issues with it, and I was like, hey guys, let's not backseat me here, I'll figure it out. And then someone said, well, there's nothing to talk about because you're playing the game. And I went, there are many subjects to talk about on a stream besides backseating someone. And then the response they got, and when I had said that, I was incredulous to this discussion. Because it happened before, where one time, I think like a year ago, I was like, guys, don't backseat. And someone was like, yeah, I stopped, that's why I stopped chatting, because I didn't want to, you know, I was afraid of backseating. And I went, is there like no other subject you can talk about? Besides like telling me what to do? That's insane. Anyway, when this happened in the Metal Gear stream, I was really hoping the guy would say something that would allow me to like time them out and then I could laugh. Boy, did I hit the jackpot, because they said, you should probably stop streaming if you don't want people to backseat you. And I went, oh, get the fuck out of here. Come on, man. Just ridiculous. But, yep, still having a good time. And some people said they really enjoyed my playthrough so far, so excited to do more. Here's hoping I can get that done today. Then we did a Mario Party game to close out this month of content. There should be more here, much more, but something occurred. We're 10 minutes in. It's time to talk about what happened this past week. Is what I would describe one of the worst weeks, if not the worst week I've ever had in my life. So, let's get started. It starts here at the Metal Gear stream. I was using the bathroom, and my toilet seemed to have a bit of a clog. It was having a bit of an issue, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll figure this out after the stream. After the stream, I'm able to, get it all cleaned up very nicely, and then I go pee. Still having issues, and I'm like, it's just water. It's not. This shouldn't be a problem. You know what I mean? So I got put in the maintenance request, dibbity-dop-doop-dop, and they'll just address it on Saturday. And I get a call, and they're like, hey, we're gonna have a plumber come down this Saturday around the afternoon. They come in around 2. I bring the guy in, show him the issue, and he's like, okay, I'll see if I can get this taken care of. And after about an hour and a half, 2 hours of work, he's like, okay, I snaked this all the way down 100 feet through the drain. Got nothing. Hit nothing. Perfectly clear. And I'm like, that makes sense. All I use is toilet paper. I know I'm a big wiper, but it's not much of a crazy thing, I'm not going crazy on it. I'm not like a child trying to load it up. So if it's empty, don't know why it's happening. He's like, okay, well, I can't do anything. I'm gonna leave. And I'm like, that's great, man. Yeah, I love when I spend a couple hours hoping I'd like to do a stream today, and it's been taken up with a guy achieving nothing, and I still have a bathroom that doesn't work. I'm walking to local restaurants to use the bathroom, and then they're telling me that only paying customers can use it. I'm getting a little annoyed, but it's fine. I get a call from, my landlord, who said, we're gonna patch you over to the property owner, and the property owner is gonna tell you what gonna take care of it. And the dude's like, all right, I've never talked to this guy before. By the way, I started this lease I renewed this lease starting this month, May 1st. And he's like, okay, we're gonna get a second plumber in. He's gonna arrive in the evening. And I wait, and I wait, and I wait, and finally I get a call, and they're like, all right, I will be here at this time. Now, another detail, they gave me a text for the address that the appointment was set, and I went, that's not my address, and my address is this, and they go, same thing. And it's because the building has like a couple of different, it's a very large complex, so they just had set up an address that was still that building, and I'm like, that's still wrong, but I mean, I guess they're right, whatever, they'll figure it out. And then I get the call, it's like 9-10 p.m., and he's like, yeah, they can't find it. Can you, like, wave them down? And I'm like, sure. I look outside. I see nothing. I then walk around the entire complex, and then I eventually, in the dark, faintly see the truck logo of what the plumber's company is, and I go, hey, man, they just gave me the wrong thing. And then we roll all the way around to my place. He comes in. I explain the problem, and he goes, yeah, well, I don't have a 100-foot snake, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to solve the problem. He's like, let me go check some stuff. What we learn is, one, he tries to remove the toilet, like detach it or whatever. And he's like, some toilet water's like coming out, and that's, we don't want to flood your bathroom. And I'm like, you're right. Never in my life do I want to experience a flooded bathroom. Especially of, like, normal, like, random toilet water. So I'm like, okay. He reattaches it, and I think he, like, turns off the pump so that it's not shooting or providing water anywhere. And he's like, I got a guy who I work with. He'll be here before lunchtime tomorrow. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll just set an alarm so I'm up early, and we can go do it. We'll be on this Sunday. Get it knocked out. Sunday rolls around, and I received no call. And 10 a.m. becomes 12 p.m., becomes 1 p.m. So I just call up. I try to call the guy, because they gave me a phone number while I was trying to figure out how to get him over here Saturday night. Busy. Every time I ever tried to call it, busy, and they're like, yeah, it's just one line. And they're always working. And I'm like, that's great. I go look online for the plumbing company and say, hi, this is urgent. Here are the reasons that I need this done now. As I constantly do I gotta go to a restaurant to fucking use the bathroom. and going insane. And also, I live in Florida, so it's humid and hot, and it feels like shit crossing multiple streets to do this. Also, the property manager of my apartments said, call me anytime on Saturday. I need you to know, I tried calling him anytime during this weekend, and because it's the weekend, they're like, nah. He told me to call anytime. He didn't. He's like, you can call anytime. I guess he said he didn't say he'd answer anytime. Morning, noon, or night. And I texted my landlord that I always deal with, and she's very nice. And I've had like no issues this past year. They're not responding either. I'm like, it's a weekend. They're just like, I don't have to do anything because it's a weekend, so they just don't do anything. I'm like, whatever. I will wait till Monday, and everything will be fine. And then my brain goes, wait a minute. Wasn't there something happening this week? And to my horror, my toilet has broken. On Memorial Day weekend. That's right. Which means no one contacted me for an additional day on Monday. So I had to continue this nightmare song and dance. I even called the plumbers, and they're like, hey, we'll put in an urgent request and get them out there. This was Sunday. That didn't happen. Sorry to skip forward for a second there. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening Sunday. Nothing's happening Monday. Monday sucks because I did this stream here, Mario Party. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to a restaurant. I'm going to eat. And then I'm going to sit in the restaurant and hang out on my phone for 45 minutes. Until I have to use the bathroom, so that I don't feel the need to go to the bathroom during the Mario Party stream I'm doing. That's the last thing I need, right? What a nightmare. But I'm like, as soon as Tuesday hits, I'm gonna get a call. Because my landlords are great in that when the office opens at 8 a.m., if I have a request or something, they get back to me immediately. It's all good. So it was around 8:20 or something. I get a text from them going, "Yeah, we're gonna have another team come in here and do this since it seemed like the last one we hired just was not prepared and was not getting shit done." I'm like, "Okay, that's great." And they said it's still gonna take you a couple hours though, 2-3 hours to get over there. So be a little patient. We will get it done. I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." I walk to a local place to go use the bathroom. This is Tuesday. I come back, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm starving. I need to get something. So I order a sandwich. I wanted to see the new episode of Gundam G-Quux. So I order a sandwich. It comes in. I have it right here on the desk. I put on the show. Very excited. And then I hear a bubbly noise. I go, that's weird. This occasionally happens with the toilet when it was clogged, where it's like you flush and it's like filling up, but then it makes a blub noise and you look back at it and it's like all gone. It's like mostly down there in the hole now. I'm like, I must have done that or something. That's a bit weird. I go in there and I'm like, oh, that is not. Man, this music's perfect for this, by the way. What I experienced here, and I will not show photos of it. I did it before. Raw sewage begins shooting out of my toilet. I'm talking black substance. And I'm like, oh no, this is the most nightmarish thing. Because I need you to know this. This happened at about 11-ish, like 11:10 a.m. They're set to get to my place anywhere in the next couple of hours. And I'm like, we were almost there. We could have stopped this. If Memorial Day didn't exist, sorry to the troops, but if it didn't exist, I would not be experiencing this problem. I had to panic. I picked up anything that was near the floor, near that bathroom. Unfortunately, the bathroom's right next to my bed. I closed the door. I put a towel up against the door, and I would occasionally check, and oh my god, it filled my bathroom, which is like a smaller bathroom that's got a toilet and a tub connected to the secondary part of the bathroom that's like the mirror, the sink, and the closet. And it started filling that up. and then it just kept running. It kept like shooting out more and more, and I cannot describe the smell where I'm like, oh my god, this is the worst it's ever been. Worst it's ever been. I've never experienced anything more horrifying in my life. And I was like, oh my god, it's going to break through the little metal line that you have that separates the tile of the bathroom to the carpet of my room. And I could see just a little bit seeping forward after a while. I immediately called my landlord and said, hey, it's flooding. I need you to fix this. Fix this now. Fix it, please. Please, God. Even the living room, I'm just like almost retching. It is taking over my life. I call my landlord, I call the property owner. I'm like, you need to get someone here now. And then they're like, you should call the plumbing thing. And I start getting a little upset when they're telling me things I need to do. So I call them and I explain to the lady on the other line, because she's like, yeah, it'll probably take a few hours. And I'm like, I need you to understand what's happening here. I live alone. I can't drive. I don't own a car. And my one place of living has now become a biohazard. I'm afraid I'm going to get deathly ill. I'm afraid that some of my stuff will get destroyed. I'm worried about, what if this is so bad it's like weeks to fix it? I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. I am every every couple of minutes, if I wasn't thinking about something, posting something, or doing anything to distract myself, my face would contort and like feels like it was being squeezed, like I was going to burst into tears. Like every single moment, because I was just like, this, I can't handle this. Because, you know, at the end of the month for me, I'm trying to fundraise for rent, I was trying to also raise money for like finishing up the Switch 2 stuff. And now you're telling me not only has my streams been delayed, not only have I been going days without being able to use my bathroom, my apartment's being destroyed, and no one is calling me. No one's reaching out. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. I'm sitting in a chair next to my front door because it's the closest that I can be inside my air-conditioned apartment where I'm not entirely retching over a horrid smell. And then finally they're like, okay, we're gonna have a guy over here that's a staff that looks over the apartment a little bit, and the plumbing guys are gonna come by, and they finally arrive. And of course they hired carpet cleaners because they knew they were gonna need to do that. Plumber comes in, checks out the stuff, and he's like, yeah, it sounds like something upstairs was causing that. I'll go check that out. So he goes and does that. The carpet cleaners arrive, and unfortunately, and they weren't told this, they weren't expecting this, they had to take care of the fact that it flooded. They had, Nunu from the Teletubbies is like the hose thing that like, I don't know why I used that as an example. Anyway, they cleaned it up. There was a tube, and they took care of that. And then they started, like, disinfecting the bathroom, spraying it down. Did nothing to the toilet or the tub, which was still a nightmare. And then, of course, they took care of the carpets, and every part that could have possibly tracked anything in. Cleaned that up. Steamed it. Hot steam and all that stuff. And they said, okay, we're going to put an industrial fan in here and, like, dry it out. And we figured out the problem upstairs. Some they did upstairs ruined everything. Like, what they did up there caused a major clog, which was the reason that my toilet didn't flush, which means the initial problem of my toilet not working that started during the Metal Gear Solid stream wasn't my fault! It was my upstairs neighbors. And as I learned recently through another plumber, if you live on the first floor, you're the one that has to receive this if that happens. Which is why that happened to me. Anyway, the plumber fixed the stuff up there, which meant the clog and my thing was done. And you would think, okay, that's when they go in there and they turn on the water to your toilet and make sure that it all works properly. But you would be wrong. He entered his car and left while I was barely looking at him, which meant that wasn't done. But I didn't have time to worry about that. I'm thinking about the damage to my home. thankfully I lifted everything up, so literally nothing of value besides toilet paper and like 2 plungers and that kind of thing were touched or damaged or whatever by this. So that's fine. Whatever, right? It is at this point that we're like, okay, we got that dealt with. The carpet cleaners are like, we're gonna come back Thursday, which I'm like, the last thing I wanted to hear is that more days are being extended to where I can't do my job. I've been losing days of work, and I've got to, and I'm worried about what's gonna happen here. I put up a tip link on my Blue Sky promoting this, and without exaggeration, the support that I received from strangers, from friends, was amazing. Just when you see a fundraiser tip link like that and it's running for like 3 hours, it was like 3 or 4 hours at most, with like 300 reposts and like 800 like likes and stuff, that it was the thing that kept me from breaking fully down. And I was a mess just trying to keep it together during this entire thing, and it was the reason that everything was able to work out to a degree, because at the time I had called my landlord and said, I need you to put me up somewhere, because obviously this wasn't my problem. You know it wasn't my fault that any of this occurred. I've lost days of work. My toilet has not worked since Friday. You need to put me up in a hotel. It was at this moment they said, well, that's what your renter's insurance is for, and we legally here in this state do not have to put you up anywhere. And it's at this moment that I realized I was fucked. And it was thanks to your support through the tip link that I put out on Blue Sky that I was able to not completely die. Because you tipped enough that I was able to put myself up at a hotel in town, and I would be able to not have to sleep near this, which I wouldn't have. I would have gotten sick, and it would have been really terrible. And thank you so much for that. I picked up a place. I Ubered over to it, and then I had to enter the next phase of this, which was Ubering over here over and over again until everything was fixed. So from here we transitioned to Wednesday, where at first they said the plumbing was done. I called the landlord. She's like, oh yeah, it's all handled. They dealt with the clog. I'm like, okay, I'll see what I can do about maybe I should clean this up. I was in this Stockholm syndrome, I guess, of like an abuse victim that just goes, no, some of this is still my fault, right? So I can just clean it or whatever. And I walked toward that bathroom on Wednesday afternoon as I had woken up after being in the hotel for a bit. Ubered over. Walked over to it and went, no. I am not doing this. When I realized, I'm like, that's a half full toilet bowl with a black substance. I'm not gonna do that. I then looked at the back tank and went, wait a minute. They never turned on the water. And then I remembered the stuff that I've already talked about where they did not make sure the toilet worked. It was at this moment that I called my landlord and said, yeah, sorry, I could have told you yesterday, but I was so exhausted because this has been an all-day thing. She's like, I get it. I'm sorry. Let me get back to you as soon as I get another plumber in. I will hire someone else. And she basically said, I'm not going through my association. I'm just gonna get one of my guys for it, because everything that we got through the property manager has been a nightmare. It's taken me longer to help you. And I'm like, thank you. I really appreciate it. People were very anti-landlord, and so was I a little bit the day before. But I'm like, you know, the person I talked to, amazing. Property manager seems to be a prick, like a giant prick. I had never interacted with him until this week. I've lived here for a year. And if you followed my content, I've had nothing bad to say about this. I've been nothing but glowing to these people. She then gives me a call back and says, yep, we're going to have somebody come in and fix up the toilet and clean it up, and they'll handle it at 7 a.m. tomorrow. And I go, in my head, are you fucking kidding me? Are you telling me I gotta wake up at 6 in the morning at my hotel room? But get myself ready, Uber over here, and then just sit down and wait for who knows how long, because the amount of times they told me someone will be here and then I have to wait 4 more hours has been a lot. So I was like, I don't want to do that again. But we did it. We did it anyway. I woke up at 6 a.m. on Thursday and got over here on time and waited. And of course they weren't here until finally about 8:20. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I'm fine with an hour grace period. When it breaks 3 hours, I'm like, you're just fucking with it. Because you have that moment. I also couldn't sleep that night, so I got maybe 3.5 hours. So it becomes that thing of like, okay, every single hour you're late is an hour I could have not been here. I could have been sleeping. But he arrives, and I'm like, okay, he's gonna clean this place up, gonna clean that bathroom, gonna get that toilet working. He's like, oh, the pump isn't on. I'm like, yeah, the last guy was an asshole and he didn't do any of this. And he's like, that's really horrible. And then he makes sure the toilet works, flushes it. He's like, all right, this thing is running. And he's like, man, this place is a wreck, and yeah, it's dangerous. So you definitely got to get this place like bleached and cleaned and stuff. I'm gonna recommend that they get someone in here to fix it up. And internally, I go, okay, so my landlord told me that the person that they were hiring was going to go clean it and fix the stuff. And what I've come to learn is that those were now separate jobs. Now it had changed on the fly. And I was internally screaming, going, when will this end? But externally, I was like, oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been really rough. Thank you so much. Yeah, I guess I'll reach out to her, but thank you. He's like, yeah, I'm going to recommend this to her because this is unacceptable. Because every worker that has come in here, amazing. Like, really, really nice, nothing but nice things to say. And also, they talked about how the property manager, for some of them who had worked here before, like, what an asshole. And I'm like, yeah, I get that vibe too. So the toilet's fixed, but the bathroom looks like shit, literally, but mostly sewage. And we got that going on. Thankfully, it's just the toilet area. The main area of the sink's fine. It's been cleaned out and disinfected and everything. But we still needed more done. And of course, the carpet cleaners hadn't arrived. So I Uber back and forth here for a few things. I try to get some Switch 2 stuff prepped. Because I did need to pay that off, and we had hit our goal for that. And it's at this point I finally get confirmation, carpet cleaner's gonna come in the afternoon. So we get that done. They get in here, they steam it out, going through all the carpet in the place. I got the whole thing, even spots that weren't even nowhere near being touched. We got that taken care of. And that got all done. And then they said, okay, we got all that handled. The only thing left is getting someone in here to clean that bathroom. I finally got the call confirmation. They're gonna be coming by, which meant that I had to Uber back to the hotel to beg them to allow me to cancel the 2-day extension I did on the place, because I had rented out a room until Friday, but extended it Saturday and Sunday, because every single time I got jerked around by these people, I'm like, it's not gonna be done in time. I'm not gonna be able to have a place where everything's fixed up, so I should get these 2 days. And then they're like, you gotta talk to the manager in the morning on Saturday, or Friday. It would be Friday, because today's Friday, right? Yeah. So it would have to be this Friday, and then you can ask them, and if they say yes, it'll cancel both days and not just one of the days, because of, I don't know, something where you have to give advance notice to get the money back, and you get your money back. I'm like, please! This costs $600. I would like to have that $600 to, like, buy groceries instead of using it on a room I'm not going to use. So we got that locked in. I come back here, and the incredibly talkative person the landlord brought in, who is clearly not someone who is an employee that works in a business, and is instead some friend they know that would do this type of thing, cleans my bathroom. Very nice, but way too talkative. So I'm like, oh god, I have to pretend I give a shit. You know when you're like, You're like, I prefer to not say more than 20 words a day, and then they're like, we're gonna make sure you say about 200 words every 10 minutes with them in conversations that you don't want to be involved in. But I'm not gonna be cruel to them because they're doing a service that I could never be more thankful for. They cleaned everything up thoroughly. It looks sparkling and beautiful. Got some things to work on the dampness of the place, and well, we got all that done, and then this place was finally cleaned up, and I was like, all right, let me run some fans to dry this place out a little bit. I will come back here tomorrow, but I'm going to enjoy the hotel one more night because that's the last night I had spoken for. I will check out Friday morning, and everything will be great. I watched a little bit of some Blu-rays that I brought over to the place. Had a pizza. We're feeling good. We're feeling great. I got my pre-order stuff locked in, so this coming week I can pick up the Switch 2. Content's gonna come back. Granted, the apartment's gonna like smell a little bleachy, a little cleany, but we'll slowly air that out over time, and things will be okay. My toilet works. We can get back to normal. And I go to sleep and I'm like, I'm gonna sleep in real nice. Gonna get like 10 or 11 hours. Maybe I'll check out like maybe like 45 minutes before the checkout like thing goes off. So my hotel does a breakfast. It runs and I got it. They do free breakfast for what I paid for. And it runs from like 6:30 to 9:30. Very nice. As they were preparing their food, they started accidentally burning some of it. This put off their smoke alarms, which then meant blaring alarms went off in the entire building at 6:15 in the morning. I woke up as if a bomb went off and everyone has to evacuate this hotel. And I'm like, I can't even have one good sleep to like end off the arc. No. I go and I forget my fucking keys, so then I'm like a dope. After the fire trucks leave for 10 minutes, I'm just outside feeling like death. I go in there, I get the key replacement. I'm like, is the manager in? And then I explain him, and he's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll refund you for both days and cancel it. I'm like, oh, thank God. I stumble back to my room, finish up some packing that I did most of it. I cleared most of it in there. Also, made use of the hotel's great laundry system. I was like, I'm gonna just bring some loads in here. That'll save me some trouble, man. So I did that. Got everything cleaned up. Enjoyed the hotel's breakfast. Had some bacon, some toast, some raisin bran. You know, it was all right. And then I finally made the return trip home, feeling like utter crap. This place smells a little bit, but it smells like cleaner, you know. But everything's back to normal, or at least on its way back. I came in here. I used the bathroom. The toilet flushed like it normally does. It didn't spit nightmares at me. And then I sat down to make this very update video. Now you may say this is a very droning on long update on this, and I need you to know this was the worst week of my life. I was basically at any moment bursting into tears multiple different times. I thought I had lost everything. As someone who's just trying to make it through day to day, this was just a nightmare. This was a trying time. I received boundless support from my friends, from total strangers, from people that don't know me or know me to a degree, and really, I appreciate all of it. It has helped me out quite a bit, and I really appreciate it. The best I can do is to just keep on doing what I'm doing, and I'm hoping that with this arc done, things can settle down a little bit, and I can get back to doing what I want to do and what people want of me, which is to do content and streams and have fun and get excited over the summer of gaming like events that are going to be happening soon, and the launch of the Switch 2 and all that good stuff. And I'm hoping that I can move on to that now. Here's hoping that I can. So, with that all said, that's what happened. What do we got coming up? Well, we got the Switch 2. I'm going to be checking out Mario Kart World, I might spend that $10 on the Switch 2 Welcome Tour where they made a pack in but made you pay for it, because as Miyamoto said back in the Wii Sports days, we make premium software, we don't give this shit out for free. And since Reggie doesn't work there anymore, they really can't, no one can stop them from being divas. But I might check that out. And some other stuff, we'll see how it goes. Most importantly though, I wanted to also check out the big Summer of Gaming stuff, like Summer Games Fest, the Xbox Showcase, all of these exciting things. See what's going on in terms of big, fat releases and upcoming things to be excited about. Maybe that Kingdom Hearts 4 will get a trailer there. And thinking about other things I'm gonna be doing. Gonna try and get a little bit more Metal Gear done. Maybe I'll play another one of those games before Death Stranding 2 drops. Don't know if I'm streaming Death Stranding 2 or not. We'll see. There's a lot of licensed stuff in there, so we'll see if I'm comfortable with it. Continuing Trails of Cold Steel 3, finishing up 24, the game, and yeah, it's just a little bit of a taste of what we got going on. And of course, Raido's coming out, a remaster of Raido, the first Raido Kuzunoha Devil Summoner game. Definitely going to be playing that. And with all of those things locked in, it's time to get into the Patreon Q&A. Over on patreon.com/KZXcellent, the $5 above level, you can ask me any questions you want, and they will be on this video. I will now refresh this thing and look at the thread. I did not prep... I did not prep any of this ahead of time, but I posted this 5 days ago, according to this. May 24th. And I promoted it, and great news. We have one question. Okay, you know, maybe it's because, you know, it got buried, I guess, from all of my other stuff, so people maybe forgot. All right, I'm not gonna count it this one because so many crises happened at the end of this month. We'll give it to next month. Next month, we'll see. If this happens again, maybe I have to sunset this as a bit. But here we go. Question. Shades of Nier asked 6 days ago. Okay, so like the day I put this out. What format would you prefer for a retelling of the additional Union Cross content the back cover doesn't get into? Dark Road and whatever they're planning for Missing Link. I've always conceptualized what they would do for a Kingdom Hearts mobile game catch-up thing. And it would be, make something on like the KH2 like graphics style scale, which is what we got for like Birth by Sleep or Dream Drop Distance. Make one of those, make like 5 different templates for how your character should look for the boy or the girl. And you do Days style mission stuff a little bit for a campaign that's broken up with the main story cutscenes, and try to go through the story of Union Cross and all of that. And from there you could like put in the back cover content, you could put in the Union Cross content that finishes that up. And you could probably reuse that for, like, the Dark Road stuff as well. I feel like something that's maybe, like, a shorter experience of, like, 15 to 16 hours, but, like, hits on that. And your big benefit is less retelling the stories of those Disney worlds, because unfortunately there's just, like, too much of it, too much agrabah. You could make a lot of repeatable, like, content there. Maybe you make it multiplayer. I don't know exactly what you could do to, like... retain it, but I feel like from the narrative at least, I feel like something needs to be playable. It's great that they give us concessions like the Days and Recoded movies, but those just aren't good ways to retain information for a game. Ultimately, they are like one step above watching a long play or reading a wiki, where you're not going to retain that information. People aren't going to be as connected to Days by just watching a 3-hour movie. I'm not saying you won't. There are plenty of people that can, but it's not going to hit as hard as I played this on a DS, or I emulated the game, and I played through all of Days, and, you know, the monotonous of the missions, the grind, but being rewarded with little cutscenes of the characters getting closer and hanging out on that tower and going through it, and then you gain a connection. That's why games are so powerful and their narratives feel so great, because you're putting yourself in that, and you're in the thick of it for so long. And I feel like if you want people to retain the information, especially for a mobile game where it's a gacha style thing, so people are not really that locked into that gameplay, they're going to think even less of the story. gotta give it a traditional gameplay like mix up here. I feel like a Switch scale Kingdom Hearts game that collects all of that mobile game content would be great. When it comes to Union Cross and Dark Road, it just feels like that stuff's just not gonna, at most, would be a cutscene collection or in a glossary or something in future games. But for Missing Link, I feel like you take the assets they have now and make a Switch 1 to Switch 2 scale game that is Missing Link, but it's not a gacha game. Because clearly, they realize that a mobile game that is in landscape and portrait mode for gameplay, whichever one you prefer, that has the Pokemon Go, you're in the real life and you're traveling around to do battles against the Heartless, while also being a narrative thing, while also having fully voiced cutscenes that and direction that has to be somewhat comparable to Kingdom Hearts 3, and has a big hub, and has to have multiple updates, and is of course a service game because that's how gachas go, and monetization, and the fact that you need to staff for that, and the fact that Square has not done well with most of its mobile output for the past few years. This is a horrible idea and they should shoot in the head. Like, the average Kingdom Hearts fan's like, shoot in the head because I hate gacha games and I hate mobile games. Make it a real game. Which, you know, I sympathize with that. But I do find a lot of value in those mobile games. I think the story of the Union Cross stuff is awesome. It is amazing. But, if we could, like, make this a normal game, that'd be great. But there are too many factors that were unrelated to I don't want mobile game as to why that mobile game was a bad idea. And it was its scope was too big. Square hasn't done well with almost any of their mobile games recently. Ever Crisis really feels real rough. Big bummer on that. It's still alive, but you know, I had some hopes when it was coming out, and the hopes have not really been met there. They just need to stop having their creators write and make compelling stories on something that has the finite nature of a mobile game with gacha mechanics, because it betrays the creators like Tetsuya Nomura and the various writers that they have working on this type of stuff. When you could instead do what we did in the 90s or the aughts and the early 2010s, where they're like, Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. This is a mobile game. Play in your 3DS. It is a linear story, and that's it. And we used to complain about that. I didn't do it a lot. It was mainly when I didn't own the platforms they were on. It's like I gotta go all these platforms to play this thing, and that's rough catching up on the series. But now we're in a moment where everything just comes out on one of the consoles and it's multi-plat, and I'm like, just put this stuff on the Switch and above, and then people will be good. But yeah, for Missing Link, I just feel like make it like Days, where it's mission-based, so you can keep that type of content you wanted to do for it. You can keep your hub, all that stuff you worked on, and just make it a console game with like traditional gameplay and stuff. That's what I think they should do with Missing Link. I feel like repurpose that into something that you can put out in the next couple of years, and it'll be a nice thing to go alongside your mainline games. I just want side games for my favorite series to come back. It has been a massive drought in terms of KH stuff, so I would love for that to go away. But that said, mobile game stuff was definitely a tough thing to talk about. Ugh. Anyway, thank you for that great question, Shades of Near. I appreciate that. But yeah, here's hoping the KH drought comes to an end over this next month. Maybe he gets to show up at a Summer Gaming Showcase. Here's hoping. Anyway, that's what we got going on. Content for me coming up. Gonna be finishing up Metal Gear Solid. Gonna be checking out the rest of 24 the game. Continuing Cold Steel 3. The Switch 2 launch and everything that is contained within that. We've also got the Raito Kuzunoha remaster. It almost feels like a remake given the amount of stuff they've changed with it. And Death Stranding 2 is coming out, so we'll see if I end up streaming that or not. We will see. If people wonder if I was going to stream the first one, I already played it at release, so I most likely won't be doing it again because I just don't have the time to replay that. We will see though. We will see what's going on with the second one. Anyway, that's it. I'm exhausted from doing a couple of takes of this early on, but this is the first one that got past a couple of minutes. Sorry for having to talk about all the bad things that happened to me today, but man, this past week, but I had to get it somewhere. I'm exhausted, and I can't wait to find out whether or not the property owner of this place is going to lower the amount of rent I have to pay this month. Still haven't heard back on that. The nice lady who I usually talk to said, yeah, I'm just waiting back to hear from them, and I'm like, please God, dude, I should not be paying $1,300 for an apartment in which I spent where half a week of it I could not be in it, and an entire week of it my toilet didn't work. And again, as I established there, none of it was my fucking fault. Here's hoping. Anyway, landlords suck, don't they? Anyway, there's your accidental podcast on what's been going on with me. See you later for updates that are not nearly as long as this one, because I hope nothing eventful ever happens to me ever again. Alright, that's gonna do it. Thank you, everybody. I gotta get out of here.